and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We acknowledge the original inhabitants of this area, the Snohomish people, and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they have hunted, fished, gathered, and taken care of these lands. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and bring about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society. And we're going to move into item D, approval of agenda. Item E, board action. First, we're going to go into number 1, Early Childhood Education Assistance Program. And this is going to be brought to us by Aline? Okay, Aline, can you pronounce your last name? Okay, thank you very much. Principal, Early Learning Center.
Good evening, Board of Director and Superintendent, Executive Director of Elementary, Lori Knutson. I want to start by saying what a great first day. We have students here. And it was exciting. They're excited to be here. Parents, I think, were pretty excited to drop them off as well. So it was just really good to see our schools full of students. I would like to introduce Aline. She is the principal at the Early Learning Center. We are here to talk to you about the Early Childhood Association Assistance Program contract and the ARPA grant approval.
Thank you for hearing us out. Every year, the Snohomish County awards us some grant monies to run our ECAP programs. And so the grant amounts, the award amounts from the Snohomish County grant and the ARPA grant are the monies that run our ECAP program. And so we are requesting that the board and Dr. Robbins approve this agreement so that we may receive all of these monies to allow us to have 197 students receive free preschool through the ECAP program. And so this program is completely self-sustainable within these grants. And so we're hoping that this can be a fairly quick decision.
Thank you very much. Actually, I did go out of order here, so let me just take a motion for the approval of the agenda, and then we'll take a motion for the grant. I have a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as written.
Did we need to have more discussion around maybe amending this agenda? With thoughts of the fact that we're now in enhanced oversight, and part of that under condition 2 was to not approve any more contractual obligations without approval.
I think we take up those actions as a board when we get to them. I still think we have a bit of control over those items since there were some verbal agreements made prior to OSPI's letter. So I think we take them up as a board and then we vote on them.
Okay. Second on the approval of the agenda.
Any further discussion?
Well, I guess I'll just say my discussion was, since my mic wasn't on, I was a bit concerned about approving some of our contracts after the letter that we received from the state superintendent. But I am willing to second and move forward.
Thank you very much. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll get on to, do I have a motion for the Early Childhood Education Assistance Program?
I move to approve the ECAP grant and the ARPA grant for the 2024-2025 school year.
Do I have a
I
second?
second. Sorry.
All right. Any discussion around?
Yes. So, I have a couple of questions. In our F-195, it says that the cost of this is 2.566 million, but our grant is for 2.157. I'm curious how we're gonna make up that difference. And also thinking about the fact that the ARPA funds end after this year, how are we gonna address that moving forward?
We're going to invite Monica, our grants manager, to join this conversation.
I believe the F-195 shows all of Program 88, which is also inclusive of our Community Peers Program, which isn't grant funded. So what's been presented to you is the Snohomish County ECAP grant, as well as the Snohomish County ARPA grant only. And then the additional funds are again that Community Peers Program.
So it is completely funded.
ECAP.
ECAP
ECAP is, but
specifically.
Community Peers is not. It has some revenue flow through, with some fees for registration.
And how many students or how many children do we have in our community peers program?
I think probably about
Yeah.
30,
I don't know that.
but that's not an exact number.
And is there a plan for moving forward after this, how we're gonna cover it? Next year, I'm just looking ahead.
I know Director Michaels has asked the question about increasing the fee structure so that it would cover it. And the community peers portion is driven by a requirement for the least restrictive environment for students. And so again, I think going forward, it's been a topic, but historically we've maintained the lower fees. And I think probably because we've had the funding as opposed to being in the situation that we are now.
Okay,
There is a plan to increase fees for next year, and this year was an increase. So we are edging up fees. The amount, I think, is up for discussion because of our situation, certainly, right?
great. Thank you.
Do you have any questions? Is there a criteria for the students that we take in for ECAP that?
Yes, there's actually a very lengthy criteria. So there's a screening where a family, talks to a intake worker around the composition of the family, the income of the family, if there is any particular need in the family, whether it be socioeconomic or language, disabilities that are not rising to the threshold of special education, homelessness, trauma, history of trauma, and all of that screening puts together preference points. So we really are trying to address students who wouldn't have the access to paid preschool, because, right, this is a free service, and the commitment for the grant is really around serving those who wouldn't have access to preschool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't have any further questions. Any other questions from the board on ECAP? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
They're quick.
They are quick.
All right, we're going to move into number 2. This is PSC 2024-5 financial opener tentative agreement presented by Brooke Marshall, Executive Director of Human Resources.
Good evening, President Krebs and members of the board, Dr. Robbins and community members. Before you is a situation report regarding Service Employees International Union, Local 925. Oh, excuse me, I'm on to the second one and third one. Okay, all right. Get the right one before me. Okay. Amend that. So before you, you have a situation report for public school employees of Marysville, financial memorandum of understanding that would be in effect September 1, 2024 through August 31, 2025. There's a recommendation to approve the financial MOU for the public school employees of Marysville effective September 1, 2024 through August 31st, 2025.
I'm going to go ahead and take a motion so we can have some discussion.
I move to approve the financial MOU for public school employees of Marysville effective September 1st, 2024, August 31st, 2025.
All right, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, discussion.
Well, my discussion points would be that this is a group that makes our schools go around and they absolutely deserve to be taken care of. As I've stated previously, our schools do not operate without support staff. I am in favor of moving forward with this.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. Especially since we've kind of had a verbal agreement with these groups already, and I think that it would be not very ethical to go ahead and not honor those agreements that we had made, regardless of what the state has said to us about this. I think that we did this before we received any direction as to that. So I think that we need to honor our agreements that we have with our people that work so hard for us.
Yeah, you're correct, Director. The tentative agreement on this between the two teams occurred in June of this year and was ratified during August 2024. And so this has been decided by the two teams and then also ratified by a majority of PSE members.
And one more comment, actually question, this is a minimal financial impact. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Sure, let me pull the information. So all told, if all provisions were triggered or initiated with regard to the changes in this tentative agreement, it would be approximately $30,100.
It's across how many staff members, do you know, roughly?
I
in the-
think
within-
about 78, 84, I'm being told.
I really don't have any other comments for you. I think the other two board members brought up valid points. I think if, we made an agreement prior to the letter, then even if it's verbal, we have to upkeep it. So I'm ready to take a vote if you guys are. All those in favor?
I
All right, motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, next up, Brooke, you get to stay up there. SCIU 10-month MOU conversion of limited personal leave and wage proposal.
This was the one that I had started with incorrectly. So good evening, President Krebs and members of the board, Dr. Robbins and members of the community. Before you is a situation report for your action regarding Service Employees International Union Local 925, 10-month employees of Marysville. 2 MOUs, 1 memorandum of understanding for the conversion of limited personal leave and a wage proposal effective September 1, 2024 through August 31st, 2025. This was tentatively agreed upon and then ratified by SEIU recently. Both teams came together approximately a week and a half ago and finalized the tentative agreement that had been reached earlier this summer. Recommendation is approve 2 MOUs, conversion of limited personal leave and MOU wage proposal for the SEIU Local 925 10-month employees of Marysville, effective September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2025.
Right, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the MOU conversion of limited personal leave and MOU wage proposal for SEIU Local 925 10-month employees of Marysville, effective September 1st, 2024 to August 31st, 2025.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Discussion?
So my understanding is this is just basically a simplification of processes to streamline things to make it easier to, to figure this out. Is that correct?
Yes, with regard to the memorandum of understanding, the conversion of limited personal leave, currently within the SEIU 10-month contract, there is a provision for awarding personal leave and then also a subsection regarding limited personal leave. The two groups negotiated and agreed that due to the administrative efforts regarding administering the limited personal leave, that we tentatively agreed to convert those in the upcoming year.
And it makes the leave process a bit easier for both parties.
It
Is that correct?
does, it does. It allows for, on the administrative end, there not to be as much of a manual process with regard to tracking the limited personal leave, which we do not do with the regular personal leave.
Any other questions? All right. And since we had kind of verbal ratification ahead of time, we'll go ahead and take this to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Brooke, you're up one more time.
I am.
This is the SEIU 12-month MOU conversion of limited personal leave and wage proposal. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, President Krebs, members of the board, Dr. Robbins, and members of the community. Before you, you have a situation report regarding Service Employees International Union Local 925 12-month employees of Marysville, 2 memorandums of understanding for conversion of limited personal leave and wage proposal effective September 1, 2024 through August 31st, 2025. The recommendation is to approve these 2 MOUs, conversion of limited personal leave and MOU for wage proposal for the SEIU Local 925 12-month employees of Marysville, effective September 1, 2024 through August 31st, 2025. So there are 2 separate contracts, as you're aware. One is for the 10-month employees of SEIU Local 925, and one is for the 12-month. And while they have similar provisions, similar clauses, obviously there are differences with regard to the 10 and 12-month employees.
Do you have a motion on 12-month?
I move to approve the MOU conversion of limited personal leave and the MOU wage proposal for SEIU Local 925 12-month employees of Marysville, effective September 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2025.
All right, a motion
Second.
and a second. All right, any discussion?
Just again, that I'm glad that our teams were able to work together to figure something out to support SEIU 10 and 12. And that they're appreciated employees in this district. And that's what I want to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we do it for the 10 months, we got, I don't know why you wouldn't do it for the 12 month. They both work extremely hard, so.
Yeah, they do.
All right, and again, this one was agreed upon and verbally ratified prior to the letter, so we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Very much, Brooke. Okay, next on the agenda is number 5, resolution number 2024-12, adoption of the 2024-2025 budget. That's going to be presented by Mr. Brandon Bowman, Executive Director of Finance.
Good evening, President Krebs, Board Directors, Dr. Robbins, and members of the community. I'm here before you today to request the adoption of our 24-25 budget. As that budget has been continually updated, even past our work study, I'd like to present a quick overview of the budget being presented today. Next slide, please. I will start with mentioning our enrollment trends. All I can say is there's been a downward spiral of enrollment. That trend has been going down at an average of about 2.1%. We are engaging or have engaged with our demographer to come up with an estimate of enrollment this year at 9,000 students. These enrollment numbers include all for basic education and alternative learning. Next slide, please. Our general fund budget for 24-25, we're looking at a beginning fund balance of about 1.26 million. Our revenues are projected to be at 197 million. Our expenditures, 199 million. That gives us an operating budget delta. It's a budget deficit of 1.1 million. We have an ending fund balance of $149,000. That is consistent with the guidelines set by OSBI of maintaining a zero or positive fund balance for the year. This also includes $1 million set aside for a newly self-insured deductible. Also 2 to 3 million of expenditure opportunities that are linked to open teacher positions. Next slide, please. On our revenue side, this is our source of revenue. On local, we're looking at 26 million coming from our local. That includes our levy funds coming in. On the state side, about 151 million. That's up just 1.3%. On the federal side, it's 15 million, which is roughly consistent. And then on our other, we're losing 23% of our other funding, which is our WOBS revenues. In total, we're projecting revenues of 197,896,498, which is 5.5% above last year. Next, please. On the expenditure side, we are seeing some reductions in regular instruction and title and compensatory programs. The other instructional 25% is the removal of the said WOBs expenditures. We got rid of the removal of the revenues, so the expenditures are also coming out. In total, we're looking at a total expenditure profile of 199 million, which is down 3.7% from last year. This includes an IPD increase that's offset by center admin staff reductions and furlough days by executive directors, among other things that we've been working on. Next, please. Just a brief overview of the 4 other budgets, including the transportation vehicle fund budget. You can see here we're starting out the year with 1.5 million in beginning fund balance. Our revenues are 1.1 million. We are expending 1.5 million, keeping our fund balance at 1.1 million. For capital projects, we have a beginning balance of 8.3 million with revenues of 5.9 million. Expenditures 6.2 million with an ending fund balance of 8 million. For our debt service fund, beginning balance is 6 million. And revenues were 9.8 million, expenditures at 9.8 million, keeping our ending fund balance at about 6 million. For our ASB budget, our beginning balance is 1.6 million. Our revenues are 3.98 million, with expenditures about 3.3 million, ending fund balance of 2.1 million. Our general fund 4-year projection. This is what we've been working on pretty heavily. You can see that we're reflecting our ending fund balance for 24-25 at a positive 149,000. That's 0.07%. In 25-26, we're projecting our ending fund balance to be 7.1 million, which is 3.63%. And then in the out years, we're looking at growing our fund balance to 5% and 4.5% in 27-28. This does reflect reductions from a school closure plan and aligning staff to enrollment trends. Next, please. With every budget, there are risks and opportunities. I'd like to point them out here. One of our primary risks are within enrollment. Our plan is using an estimate from a contracted demographer, estimating reductions in enrollment by 0.9% for 24-25. Historical trend analysis suggests possible reduction in enrollment by up to 2.1%. This is being mitigated by the use of substitute teachers and a potential to not fill 30 FTE of instructional staff. This must align to enrollment and class sizing requirements, and we will adjust accordingly. Other opportunities that we've mentioned and special education revenues, we believe that there is opportunity to capture additional safety net funding between 1 and 2 million. Also reduce our sped expenditures from the budget. The example here is our actuals were 5 million over the state budget amounts for this year, but we're budgeting 6 million for next year. Then also a non-utilization of a $1 million self-insured deductible that I mentioned earlier. That is the brief overview of our budget. Our strategic goal in the finance department and for the school district is resource management. We're generating and aligning and coordinating all available resources to reflect our core values. On the communication side, students and families from all backgrounds have access and share relevant information to ensure student success. State laws requiring that the board of directors of each school district meet for a purpose of fixing and adopting the budget of the district for the ensuing fiscal year on or before August 31st. The district administrative team has met with the board of directors to determine level of resources available for the continuation of all educational programs within the district for the 24 and 25 year. Required notice to the public for the budget adoption was published in the Daily Journal of Commerce on Thursday, August 15th of 2024 and Saturday, August 22nd of 2024. It has been determined that the final appropriation levels for the 2024-25 school year are as follows. The general fund, 199,011,329. Capital projects fund, 6,210,000. The transportation vehicle fund, 1,510,000. The debt service fund, $9,806,501. And the ASB fund, $3,351,815 for a total expenditure budget of $219,889,645. It's my recommendation that the board adopt the resolution 2024-12, fixing and determining fund appropriations, adopting the 24-25 operating budget, the 4-year budget plan, and the 4-year enrollment projections.
All right, at this time, we're going to enter into public hearing. I'm going to read this for you all real quick. The Board of Directors will now suspend the special meeting at 5:29 to enter into a public hearing to take comments for or against the proposed budget in accordance with RCW 28A.505.050. Comments are to be only for the purpose directly related to the proposed budget. This is not a time for sharing public comment on any other topic. If comments are not related to the proposed budget for the 2024-2025 school year, the person making the comments will be asked to cease and attend the next regular session board meeting scheduled for September 4th to address the board during the hearing of business of visitors. It is the board's practice to allow 3 minutes per individual to hear public comments with a total time not to exceed 30 minutes. The time allotment for the public hearing is at the discretion of the board president and may be extended or shortened by a vote of the entire board. So again, similar to our typical public hearing, Each speaker has 3 minutes. I would ask that every speaker who comes up present their name and either their address or their affiliation with the school district. And you'll notice we've got a little timer up here. I think it turns yellow when you have 30 seconds. And it'll turn red and I believe flash when your 3 minutes is up. So if we could just respect the person behind you, their time. If you see that red flashing, if you could just wrap it up within the next 10 to 15 seconds, that would be great. And we'll call out the first person. I think it's, is it Preston Dwash? Dwaskin? Oh, Preston.
Preston DeWaskin, Marysville School District, a graduate of class of 2010. I'm here this evening to make my voice known to this budget. You have a lot of work to do. I know that you guys have to be seeking a budget, but a budget should be about your priorities for your students in your district. When you look at a budget, you should make sure it reflects the value of every student in this district, not just one, everybody in a whole. I support the current budget that is laid out today, because if we don't have a budget, we don't move forward. I know I don't want to be sitting in your seats right now because it would be a very hard decision, but I support students and staff in this district to move forward. We are required to have an education. And education is a federal mandate. We cannot stop working for the students today because we don't like something. We move forward and we figure it out. So Dr. Robbins, thank you for all your hard work. School board, Dr. Bowman, thanks for all your hard work. I support this budget and I would ask that you please pass it so we can keep students moving forward and give them the education they deserve. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Preston. Up next, I have Amy Sheldon.
My name is Amy Sheldon. I'm a district employee, but I'm an aunt. So my sister has questions. So when you have a parent, you're a parent with a special needs child, you can't come to these types of meetings because you're busy with your kids. So the question she has is, you guys keep bringing up the safety net money. Are you saying that safety net money would go, the extra money would go into a general fund, or is it going to go towards a special education students? Because every time she hears it, it's confusing to her. So she wanted me to bring this question forward because you have a child that is a safety net. They want to make sure that that question's addressed. So that was my question for you guys. Let you know a concern.
Thank you very much. Next up on my list, I have, we can probably ask somebody to get the answer and send it out. All right, next on my list, I have Don Hatch.
First, I want to thank the board for the hard work and all the dedication that you have. Because, I'm going to make a few comments, because I've been on the school board and I sat on here for 16 years and I really appreciate all the work you guys do. And I hope that, with this budget that comes out, that it help our children get past what they're going through, because with the tragedy they see on TV and seeing the Marysville School District doing different things and being there and the negativity out there, I hope that our cameras here will at least give some positive things about what you guys are doing as board of directors and the superintendent and the hard work you guys been doing, because you guys been doing a tremendous job. I was here at the last meeting when we worked on the budget. I appreciate that gentleman that was here with the budget and when we looked at it and get a chance. So all I could say is that take care of our children, and you guys can do it with this budget. I hope that Mr. Ragdell and OSPI was here watching what you're doing, because that's some of the things that they want to watch, they should have been here 3 months ago to watch what you guys have been doing. You guys have been doing a tremendous job. Now I wish Mr. Ragdoll would come down here and see what's happening and not sit in the office in Olympia and make decisions and write a letter like he wrote that I had a chance to hear from a private person. So but I want to thank you for the hard work you do, because without the board and being here and the young, and how many years have the, oldest one's been on here? Connor, you've been on here how long? 1 year? 3 years?
2 years.
2 years. And the rest of them has hardly been on their own.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Some of them are in there 6 months. And here we're all here beating you up. Instead of, let's accomplish some things together. Because I'm 84 years old and I want to be able to help my kids. I want to help them all and do things. You got a staff here waiting to do things. Let's go and do it. And when we win, we're going to win together. And we're going to win. We're going to win. We got to do this with the next levy that we're going to run too. And I want to be there right in the middle of it when we start accomplishing, trying to make it successful. And I want to be here when we make that levy successful as well. Because it isn't your guys' fault that those levies too failed. It's all of our fault. It's a team effort. We win together and we lose together. And all of us lost together in those 2 levies. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And for or against,
Megan.
for or against.
So, Don, are you for or against the budget?
For it.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, next up I have Dion Hatch.
For it.
I got you.
Yeah, the next 2 is mine.
Okay.
So you wouldn't be able to kick me out of here. You still got a few more minutes then?
You got at least 3 more minutes if Dion hands you his time.
Stand up there and criticize OSBI for not helping us. OSBI should have been here 3 months ago, not let us fall in the ditch. Check this out and say, it's your fault for falling in the ditch. No, it's their fault for not helping.
Thank you very much. Next up, I have Jackie Hatch. Oh, I got you. Okay. I just have to read it out. All right, next on my list, I have Nancy Harvey. Hello, Nancy.
Nancy Harvey, community member, and volunteer. I'm in favor of passing this budget. I'm sure each and every one of us could probably go through the budget and we could nitpick and we could complain and we could find things we don't like. We need to move forward. And I believe a lot of hard work has gone in to getting us to the point we're at. So you can cut me off if I stray too far. I read in the Seattle Times this morning that Seattle is not the only urban school district grappling with declining enrollment and higher expenses that federal pandemic funds had helped the last few years, but are no longer helping. San Francisco and San Antonio, Texas are talking about closing schools. Despite the McCleary decision about school funding, we're just not getting the help we should be getting with their models for funding schools. And so I'm a little unhappy at the committee and Dr. Reichdahl's response that we're complaining that we're not getting enough funding in Marysville. It's the truth. We're not getting the funding we should have. We're at rock bottom. The only way to go is up. It's the beginning of the school year, and I can't wait to get back and do math with students at Totem Middle School. We have dedicated and amazing teachers here and wonderful school administrators. Thank you, everybody. Let's go forward.
Thank you very much. Next up on my list, Mike Hugan.
Okay,
I told you last time, I know. Sorry. Mike Hogan.
Hello, I'm Mike Hogan. I'm a community member. I've come up a few times and talked. I have to be for the budget because we're at the 12 o'clock hour. It's got to go to OSPI. They're going to look at it and they're going to scrutinize it. The concern I have tonight, though, is seeing the things I've seen on Facebook, the letters that we've received. I know we have verbal understandings, verbal agreements, but I believe there were some statements not to offer any more increases, I believe. I'm not sure exactly how it was worded. And I really have to believe that that's in this budget, that the budget we're going to okay today does not have any increases, although it sounded like 30,000 maybe possible. I also hear that OSPI is asking for lists of unrepresented employees. So to me, that sounds like circling our wagons and they're getting ready to make some decisions coming up. And I'm very concerned how that's going to play out. If we've really thought and heard and listened to what those letters came out at I guess that would be the 10 o'clock hour yesterday from OSPI, is that reflected in this budget? I know we have to forward a budget today. This has to go forward. But I want to make sure that we've really thought about that, and any cuts that might be made in the higher end, if there's any, like the 7.4% that they were referencing for some of the administrators, or whatever cuts that could be made, because that's what they're aiming at. They're going to be aiming at that and unrepresented people, and that's going to clear a lot of people. I'm thinking out of this office and out of the offices of a lot of our schools, and that's going to give us a lot of troubles. So that's all I can say. Again, I'm for the budget as long as we don't have those increases in these memorandums of understanding. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Got one more person on the list, Mr. Ray Sheldon.
I've been here for a long time. You're not going to believe this. This has been fifth row. I'm opposed to the budget. The numbers will keep on climbing. I told you before, we start out 5-6 years at 13,000 a student. Now we're cleaning almost $20,000 a student. Where does it go? And no one's really showed us. And most of all, we set back. When you went to ask the state for help, you went in thinking they would help you. But everyone knows that they don't help you. They just put their thumb on you a little bit harder and send someone else here to do what we're supposed to be doing. My question is, would we have to pay for the new advisor ourselves to cut the money out to say, I'm sure the state's not going to say, hey, we're going to send someone over $400,000 a year. This is for free. We're here to educate you. They're not going to educate you. There'll be changes more than we wanted. I would be for it if someone came to me before a meeting, all the other unions and everyone else sat back and say, great, this is the best thing ever. Go with the budget. I just can't see it. And this frustrates me. I've been here for a long time. And when we take the money back out, we're only going to gain 5,000. Well, what are we going to do when it comes to January or next May and we need another $6 million? Go on the capital funds again and borrow it? I thought they said we couldn't do that. Well, I'm sure we'll find a way to do something. If we don't have the assets to create and get more money, I think we're just failing and figuring out if we don't have the money to pay the other people, we're in trouble. I've said this 4 or 5 years ago when it's just Amy and I and Chris sitting in here. You're throwing out money that you don't have. And I hope and I wish maybe on important things like this, I would, Mr. President, I would hope you do a roll call vote so we all know how you voted. That's important. But when it comes down to 2025, we can sit back and say, oh, he didn't vote this way. We have to make changes. So I think maybe important things like this needs to be a roll call vote. You know, I've been to meetings and did this quite a bit. At least how everyone knew how I stood. Think on that one. So I know a lot of people are saying yes and go forward. I hate to be able to think, yes, let's go forward. And 2 weeks from now, somebody walks in and says, rips the paper out, we're starting out brand new. We can all say, yeah, we didn't know, but we're past, we made an agreement. But you made an agreement 2 months, 2 years ago, almost a year ago, to have OSPI come in and help. And you thought this was going to be the greatest thing ever. What do you think now? Thanks.
Thank you very much. Right, the Board of Directors will now close the public hearing at 5:47 and resume the special session meeting. All right, next up, 5.3, board action. So is there a motion?
I move to adopt resolution number 2024-12, fixing and, oh, sorry. Is that right?
Yep, you're
Yeah,
right.
fixing and determining fund appropriations, adopting the 2024-25 operating budget, the 4-year budget plan, and 4-year enrollment projections.
All right, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Yeah. Well, my question is in this letter from Superintendent Reichdahl, he's with the enhanced financial oversight. It says on his 4th pointer, it says by October 15th, 2024, Marysville School District must submit a revised budget to OSPI. Does that mean that all the work that we're doing now, then we have to go back and put 6 more weeks into this again after all this? Is that what that, am I reading that correctly?
So that you are reading that correctly. However, it's important to note that when that letter came out, they had not reviewed this budget that we are currently submitting. And so I can tell you that this budget that we are submitting now already incorporates a lot of the things in that letter. And so we may be in a better spot after they review that.
My second point is point number 5 here says the Financial Oversight Committee shall develop an alternative financial plan that returns the district to financial sustainability by the end of 2025-26. That to me says that it doesn't matter what they do or what we do, they're going to take our local control and do what they want anyway. Am I reading that correctly? Is that, it doesn't, to me, it says, why, we're spending all the time and effort at what we could be putting towards kids and letting people do things productively. And instead it feels like we're being made to jump through a bunch of hoops when they're going to do what they want to do anyway. It just does not seem equitable to me. And I don't see the logic in it. And I don't understand if they're here to help us. To me, that doesn't seem very helpful. I don't see where that's coming from.
Director Harris, I would respond, but I believe you said it all, sir.
I do want to pick up on what you said. I know this letter came out yesterday, and I think OSPI knew that we were joining today in a special session to go through and adopt this, potentially adopt this budget. And this is just a personal take, but I wish they would have waited just a few days to see what we had to offer. And I will say there was a question from Mike, whether or not all of those things that were on that letter, whether or not we're doing these things or if they're a part of this budget. I think that the board does plan on sending a response letter, and included in that response letter are all of those bullet points that are requirements under enhanced financial oversight. And I got to say, I think all of them, if I'm if I'm not mistaken, except for the last one, we're already doing. Some of them we've been doing for a year now. So to answer that question, I think all of it is included in this budget. And it's unfortunate that that letter couldn't wait 2 days until this budget came out. But I think we're all kind of in uncharted territory when we're talking about enhanced financial oversight. And I think when we came into financial oversight, I don't think anybody really had a solid clue what that actually meant. And we've had to learn along the way. And I think the same will be true for an enhanced financial oversight. I don't know how to answer your question. I know in the letter, it did say that by October 15th, we have to submit a revised budget. That's assuming that our budget isn't already good enough or doesn't already meet their requirements, which they wouldn't have known that until today. So I think those are all fair questions to ask Chris and to ask the special administrator that they're going to assign, which I don't think one has been assigned yet, but I think we're all going to step through that together and kind of learn what authority comes with that and what authority comes from the dais. And until then, I don't really want to speculate. So do you have any
Yeah.
comments?
AHLUP, Skaya, Eliza, Davis Seedsdot. Hello, folks. I do want to echo that what Ray Sheldon said, that was one of my first thoughts when I was reading that letter about a special administrator, was like, oh, are we gonna have to pay for that? That was like the first thing that came to my head. And how much is that gonna cost? Marysville. I also want to echo what Craig was feeling too, is that while this is a requirement by law for us to adopt this budget by August 31st, it does feel like maybe there's already something in mind from the FOC or OSPI, and that it would be just more helpful for us. This is my personal opinion, and our students, if our administrators in our district could have just bring that forward now. Why are we waiting till October 15th after we resubmit? I do hope that, and I have confidence that the work that was done, that there will be some more confidence from the FOC and OSPI and the budget that we are submitting. And I really want to say on record that as we have a special administrator, one of my expectations as a board of director is that special administrator attend every single one of these meetings with us and sit up here with us if they're going to be here making all the decisions. That is something that I would expect. And I also want to echo the sentiment that, I mean, this is unprecedented territory that we're in. So I think that everybody is learning through the process. And I have to believe that we are moving forward and that our school district is going to come out stronger. So those are my comments.
Right. Is there any more comments from the board?
I do have one more question
Mhm.
about what was presented here. When you're looking at the risk of the budget and the opportunities, and you talk about the risk mitigation via use of substitute teachers and potentials, I'm curious about the timeline for when we'll know exactly when this will be a known. how many teachers exactly we will need to bring on full-time or we won't.
Yeah, so we will go through the count day process, which will be through the fourth day of September, for school day of September, which is actually September 6th. We will have our official count and see if it's in line with our enrollment projections. And then we will adjust our substitute staffing accordingly. I'm not sure what the timeline is for the subs we currently have. Is it 3 weeks? So we're on temporary subs for 3 weeks until we establish what the enrollment is from our count day and review what next steps are needed.
So that's kind of in line with October 15th.
I do think that, when we take a vote on the budget, I agree with Mr. Sheldon that, I think it's important that we take a roll call vote. So, I'm just gonna propose a motion that we take a roll call vote, for this action. So again, I'm not proposing a motion for this action yet. Or I'm not requesting a vote for this motion yet, but I am, going to request a motion to conduct a roll call vote for the budget.
Do we have to present a motion to do that, or can you just say that's how we're voting? I'm just
I think it,
elementary.
I think it's better safe than sorry.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with presenting a motion. So.
I would like to present a motion that for the adoption of this budget and the four-year projection, that the board do a roll call vote, for the record.
I'm gonna second. I think I can do that. All right. Is there any discussion behind what just happened? Got all those in favor? Aye.
Well, I thought we were doing a roll call vote.
Are you in favor of the roll call vote?
Eliza Davis, Director, position 2. I am in favor of the roll call vote.
Thank you. All right, so we're gonna take a roll call vote on the proposed motion. I'll go ahead and make this motion. I move to adopt resolution number 2024-12, fixing and determining. You know what? We have already made a motion on this. I am sorry. So I'm going to take this to a vote. So Director Davis.
I vote yes. Aye.
All right, Director Davis votes aye. All right, Director Harris.
I vote yes, aye.
Director Harris votes aye. Director Krebs votes aye. That's 3 ayes, motion passes. I think somebody might call me out on some Robert's rules a little bit on that, but I think I did it right.
That parliamentary cheat sheet in front of
Right.
us.
So that does conclude our meeting. I don't have a spot for board comments on here, but I'll go ahead and make a comment. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I know school has started in the Marysville community, and with that said, now we can call these nights school nights, and that comes with a lot more than it did when we were in summer. And so I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. And I do want to mention that the survey that we presented during the last meeting, we have, the board has seen the questions. Our plan for that is to not only individually reply to those questions to the people who submitted them, but also take frequently asked questions and post them on our website. And so we are about done getting answers for all of the questions. And once that happens, all of the answers will go out to the individuals who submitted them. I believe we're going to keep that survey open. I would like to keep it open and almost indefinitely, but just change kind of the survey topic depending on what discussions are happening per meeting. But I think it's a good tool for the board to be able to use. And it's a good way for us to ensure that we're responding to questions that are asked. So just wanted to update you on that. And then another update is we currently have a vacant seat. And I believe the process has started for filling that vacant seat. Director District 4 or 3 is vacant. And so there should have been an email that was sent out. I believe we're going to submit something to the local news and try to get the word out as much as possible. So if you're in District 3, look out for that. Put your name in the hat. I believe you'll have 2 weeks. And then the process after that will be interviews of candidates. And again, we'll continue to update timelines on that so that the community can get involved, just like with what happened with Director Harris here just a couple weeks ago. So are there any other comments from the board?
Yeah, I just like to say was lucky enough to be able to visit schools today. I was at Getchell, at Marysville Middle School, at Cascade Elementary, where those kids get awesome high fives. I'll let you know. At Marshall and at Schultes, and there is amazing things going on in our schools. I walked in, haven't done this for forever as a teacher. You would have thought that the kids were like in mid-November form. I was amazed when I walked in and how those kids were engaged, how hard the people were working. Even in the buildings, I walked in at Marysville Middle School and that floor shined. It was amazing. It just, people talk about, how horrible things are in the facility stuff. People are working so hard for our kids, and you need to get into the schools and see what's going on. It was very, it kind of made me glad that I'm here. I'll say it's been a couple weeks, and when I started teaching, one of my little ELL kids, he looked confused, and I said, "Well, Juana, what's wrong?" He says, "Mr. H, my head is full of bees," and that's kind of how I feel. Like my head is full of bees. All this stuff going on. It throws a lot at you. But I appreciate the support. I appreciate the acknowledgement that we are up here trying to do the best that we can. Director Michael, who's not here because she's has personal things with taking her daughter to college, which is a great thing, is tenacious in her research and what she does. If I was picking teams on the playground, Director Davis would be my first pick. She is here for kids. She works hard. She has her heart in the right place. Director Krebs, I can't imagine being thrown into the position he's been thrown into as a president here. And just, I want you to know that we have the interests of this community at our heart, that we want to regain the faith and the trust of this community. And we're working hard, especially me, because I was selected. I wasn't elected. The people didn't pick me, and I want to do everything I can to make sure that I'm worthy of your support, and that I do the best I can for our kids. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody. Let's have a great year. And the last thing I want to say is that I would really like us to kind of model behavior that we want to see from our kids. They look to us, and when they see us disparaging people, being negative, finding fault, that's what they model. They think that that's okay behavior, and we need to be better. We need to show them what we want by modeling that. That's the least we said. We shouldn't be just exhibiting behavior that we wouldn't accept in a classroom or our homes. So I would like to move forward positively as much as we can, and we can't do this alone. It's not an adversarial thing. It's not us against the community. We need to be one united group together, and we'll pull out of this. We'll get through this. We have before, and we'll do it again. And just give us some time. Give me some time, please, as I learn this job, and a little grace to the people up here who are really putting this in. So I don't know how you could have a full-time job and still do this. I'm all over the place, and I'm lucky enough to be retired. So my hat's off to the other board members. I appreciate them and respect them tremendously. So I just want to say that. That's all I've got.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. And I had the chance to get to know Craig a little bit through a phone call, and I think we're going to get some really good oh my gosh, brain fart. He makes up really good, like what's the word, Craig? I can't think. my brain is lost.
Team,
No, he said bees in my head.
that's where you're at.
No, I'm trying to think of the
Oh,
word.
the
I'm
analogy,
lost.
the analogy.
Analogies. I won't even make the joke. I won't even make but he has the best analogies. I think we're in for a treat with all of his analogies. But I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being here and making this work a priority. We got a lot of hard work ahead of us, but I think, moving forward and doing the work together is how we're going to get there. And let's show our students that they're worth that and do good work and just empower our students and our community to be partners in education. So again, thank you so much for making the time to be here, especially all of those that are here every single time. We're going to move forward.
Thank you very much. With that, that's going to adjourn our meeting. It is 6:06. We are adjourned.
Recording stopped.
When that new SBI